We are live.
All right, we're live.
Go. Yeah, we
We're
are
live
live.
in 5. That's 4, 3, 2, 1. And Kev.
So we'll have a little bit of a delay. So yeah, compared to from us going over to the YouTube. There we go. Because we're just coming on. That's like a 20-second delay. So there we go.
Are we in?
We're in. Yep.
How do you know we're in?
We're in. Well, everybody tell us. Are we in? I think we're in.
Are we in?
We got probably having a busy pre-beer. You know what?
We're so, honest to God, Kev, we're so typically Canadian. We're late. This is an all Canadian broadcast.
It is too.
I haven't been on time for anything yet, and I'm sure you two can vouch for that in all of the customers in the live stream.
Oh yeah. Let's not touch that one.
Yeah.
But hey, all Canadian content. Skater Kev bringing it together, bringing in the big hug, the big Canadian hug for everybody out there. So happy people are joining in.
Yeah, that's right. I think this is the first old Canadian one we've had. I think.
Yeah,
Nice.
so.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is great. It's funny. Me and Gord checked everything working out this morning. Everything worked perfect. Audio, video, everything. And then I got up and I came back. My video was gone. Gord had no audio. And it's like, how does this happen? I've never had these problems.
But it's okay because I know sign language.
Yeah. That's good.
Andrew, are you on, buddy? I can't hear Andrew.
Here we go.
There he is. There he is. Hey, so Kev, before we start, if we could just let everybody know, I'm so grateful and I want to say hi to everybody, but just so they know, I cannot respond to your hellos. I just want to say an all-around hello to everybody. I can see them, but I can't type.
Oh, okay. Yep. Well, there you go. Everybody, hello.
Two-finger typing.
Yeah. Are you on your phone then? Is that what you're doing? I never did.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm on a computer. I'm sitting up at the cottage, but I'm on this very delicate Wi-Fi through the cell network. And I don't know about you guys, Andrew or Kev, where you are, because I know you're in two different parts of the province, but I woke up this morning, honest to goodness, it was miserable and overcast. There was 40% chance of rain. I thought to myself, I'm in the ugly season, which I tell people it is, right? Because it's mud and all that kind of stuff like you guys get. And I'm like, okay, this is the day I need to start cleaning stuff up and getting stuff ready for spring. I get out there and I'm tightening the chains on the dock and throwing the ramp out. And I'm deep in thought because I'm so excited for this live stream tonight, right? And all of a sudden I realize I'm covered in white stuff. Almost 3 hours of wet snow this morning. Which turned, oh my God, and then turned to rain. And honest to God, you guys know, and I know you make fun of me, but I did have a nap. When I went down for a nap, it was still raining. It did not stop all day. I woke up now, it stopped. But, and hey, is there something wrong with having a nap? I just want to ask.
I wish I could have got a nap today.
There you go.
Yeah, I haven't had a nap for a while. The kids don't nap anymore, so don't get naps. And it's funny you bring that up because I got numerous messages about that asking if I should change the stream to earlier so go get it before his bedtime.
Well, I was going to ask you, when you said 8 o'clock, I was like, 8 o'clock a.m.? No problem. What? p.m.? Yeah. And it's funny because I don't know if Dan's on yet or not from Back 40 Firewood, but you remember we were talking about it? If I'd remembered, I would have brought my jammies up and I would have started this live stream in my bed wearing my jammies.
That would have been funny.
There you have it, though. Anyways, I am so grateful to be on. Thank you so much for the invite, Kev. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming out. I appreciate it too. I know it's tough. There's 3 of us now. So trying to get everybody all coordinated to get in this, this time of season makes it a lot easier. So, yeah, but we got Ross on the land. He says,
Ross,
no issues with naps.
And Gus and Sally are on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sean had a nap. Thank you.
There's Brad Lloyd. He likes his naps too. Gus saying it's past Gord's bedtime. It's all right. He had a nap.
And I had a shower to wake up.
A quick nap through the day does you good. Like I know Kev vouch. There's a couch in my office. So
yeah, well, you know what, Andrew? In all fairness, and Kev, like up here, I don't know if you guys notice it as well, but when I'm in the city, yes, Carol, I do not nap when I'm in the city. But when I'm up here, the air has got to be different because it is not uncommon for Guy or Husky Bob to be knocking at the door at 4:00, and I'm passed out on the couch. I don't know. It's got to be the air. It's got to be.
Oh, I bet it's all the fresh air. We had my youngest. We had some daycare issues, and he was at grandma's for the week, and he was outside for a good portion of the day, and all that fresh air out of the farm. And he was coming home. He was napping every day on the way home in the truck, and it's 10 minutes.
Yeah. You gotta love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What's Gus say? I'm older than you and all, and I don't nap.
Oh, Gus. Yeah. Gus just showing off. Yeah. He's awesome. Him and Sally, they're wonderful people, man. And Ross, my jammies are overalls. That's what I was going to come out of the bed on at the beginning of this live stream if I'd remembered them. But anyways, it's
the Carhartts.
Yeah.
The Carhartts that you wear?
Carhartt jammies. You bet. Cheapest pair you can buy. I don't buy the fancy ones. I just get the $87 ones. That's what I wear.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the coveralls that you wear. The coveralls or the overalls, but
well, you know the story behind those coveralls, Kev? I haven't worn them for 20, 30 years. Carol got sick and tired of having to try to get the stains into my jeans. And she kept at me. She's like, you're up there. You're getting all dirty. She's like, why are you wearing your good jeans? And I'm like, well, because I only have one pair of jeans. Because in all fairness, I only have one pair of jeans. And she's the one that made me go to Mark's Work Warehouse and get overalls 5-6 years ago. She's like, I'm sick of trying to scrub the stains out of your jeans. She's like, they're not cheap. So I bought overalls, and that's how it all started. It wasn't Mike Holmes, for those of you that have said that. Oh, you're trying to be Mike Holmes, who, by the way, I met in the airport on an Air Canada flight once several years ago to Alberta. Awesome guy, super awesome guy. And he's a lot shorter than he looks, by the way, on TV, just so you know. But yeah, that's how I started with the overalls, is because Carol was sick of cleaning my clothes. She was like, get overalls. That's how I started.
Huh. Just that easy.
Well, you know what? Happy wife. Happy life.
Oh, that 100% on that. It's funny. Mike Holmes, he's only about 10 minutes from me.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'm pretty sure that's where he lives. I haven't gone knocking on his door, but yeah.
Wow. What a Canadian.
Yeah.
By the way, Canadian content. It's all about Canada tonight.
That's right. Oh, Andrew's got the Molson Canadian too. The Canucks.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I've even got the Canadian beer.
Yeah. Wayne says every society has a nap time, but us. Tea time, siestas. I call them 20-minute power naps.
There we go.
Yeah, you're right. I wish I could have a siesta at work some days.
Yeah.
When we're cutting, that'd be nice.
It completely drives Stacy nuts because I can go and lay down on the couch and like 15 minutes later wake up and feel like $1 million.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't know. I'll sleep that fast.
That's right. Well, the nice thing is and I think it's funny because, you know, when you're raising kids, you never go to bed early. There's no such thing as going to bed early, but all of mine are in their 20s now. So, you know, I'm good with 8 o'clock. I'm done. Turn me over. I'm done. You know,
I'm not too far off that, Gord. Not too far off. I get up early though, just so I can have a little bit of my own time, but
yeah, you bet.
So Tim writes here, Andrew. He says, hi, Andrew and the gang. He said he used to haul Brent's wood out of Calabogie.
No, I mean, that makes sense. I think Shizens have hauled quite a bit of wood for Dad at one point, I think. Yeah. I definitely recognize the name.
Yeah. He said he's looking at maybe one day hopefully having an Eastern Made splitter.
Oh, if you ever had about Tim, stop by the shop. You're more than welcome to come by. The door's always open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking about, well, your Eastern Made, your patio stone, I forget the name of the machine, your patio stone machine. How's that going? You're supposed to have one going out this month, didn't you say?
No, it's in June. So we still have a couple of months left on it. We're gonna start redesigning some of it there. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, we have a handful of East-made projects or splitter projects that we want to get tidied up here first. So that's the main focus before we take on anything else. I want to make sure that all of the loose ends are tidied up for the firewood stuff before I dare take on everything else. So
yeah, for sure. I was wondering about that. I forgot to ask you the last live stream about that, so I had to bring that up.
Yeah, and hey, if we can talk about that, it's a stone master. Is that what it's called, Andrew?
Stonemaker is what it's called. Yep.
Stonemaker. How thick are the bricks or the stones it can make?
Yeah, it'll vary. Like pretty well whatever you want. The thinnest is probably about a ½ inch, and then the thickest is 8 or 9 inches.
Oh, okay, great. Like, because I was
you can do like a full hollow core block.
Oh wow! Okay, great. Because I was hanging out with a guy in Husky Bob, Easton made Bob and Ralph yesterday, and Ralph's going to be putting in a retaining wall, and I was like, "Geez, that would be a pretty good gig." And then the guy was like, "Well, I don't know how deep or how thick those stones can be made out of your product, but that's pretty thick, so that's pretty good."
No, you can do a fairly thick stone. And the nice thing about it is we can make any size, shape, type. Pretty well whatever you want you can make with it. Is you're only limited by your imagination with it. So
okay, great. Well, I have a crazy imagination, especially after I've been out on the dock for too many hours in the sun
or the snow.
Yeah, or the snow.
That's funny. We got a touch of rain this morning, and then the sun ended up coming out. It actually turned out to be a half decent day. A little bit chilly with the wind, but it was still. Finally, it feels a bit like spring.
Well, we had a crazy day today, but tomorrow is supposed to be 21 degrees, clear skies, and sun all day. And Husky Bob is heading out. He's got his vegetable garden, which he's so proud of. I mean, that's his pride and joy, eh? And you'll see on a video coming this week, we had to blow a big rock shelf out of his garden because, this is not the area to be gardening, but Bobby found this large area. And we took out 2 big, massive boulders out of it. And then we had this rock shelf coming through the middle. And you know what's difficult, right, is when you're in there and you start to pull on that rock, you don't know if it's a shelf or it's a boulder. And you keep going, and pretty soon you find out it's a shelf. So I won't spoil the surprise of the video later this week, but we got her out. That's for damn sure. And it's funny because Easton Made Bob says to me, well, I said to him, I go, well, geez, I go, what do you do? Do you plan around this? And as you know, Easton Made Bob was born and raised in the West, and he's been a farmer all his life. And he says, because he has wicked vegetables, he has got the green thumb, eh? He goes, no, I just don't plant my potatoes there. But we got her out yesterday. It was a big day, man. I'll tell you, it was a long day, but we got her out and we got her blown up. Well, I don't want to say anymore. Stay tuned. Yeah, but guy brought out the high stuff.
Yeah,
no more fooling around.
Guy would be the one to have it.
Well, he's got it for sure, and I tell you, man, you set up the flare. He's got what's needed, and we got her out. It was a bit of a task. And as far B, you don't need an explosive license for what he uses up here. It's actually he doesn't need to be licensed.
Oh, that's
it's better. Actually gunpowder. Yeah, it's not explosives.
You would have some of that too.
Oh yeah, he's got a little. Yeah, you got it, Cass.
That might not be in a good video someday, Gord. If you can talk guy into and just showing some of that stuff. Is that when I was up there, I thought that was really, really cool. So some of the stuff he was into and the different stuff he's got there, it's amazing. It's really cool.
Yeah, you know what, Andrew? That's so kind of you to say. And the wonderful thing about Guy, I'm very fortunate. I met him 10 years ago. After I was up, because we're actually, as you know, we're only one driveway away down the concession. He's about a kilometer and a half from me, but I didn't know him until somebody else introduced us. And Guy he's a very shy person, But if you guys ever look back on the channel, you'll see his tractor for a lot of videos over a long period of time, but you never see Guy because he didn't want to be filmed.
Yeah.
He's a very humble, very kind person, super skilled in so many areas and very educated. And he's got an engineering background and stuff. And he makes some of the most spectacular furniture you've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
From scratch, mills it out of the forest. He said he never touches a board that's not at least 2 years seasoned when he makes furniture. Steams it, bends it, and he makes some spectacular, awesome cabinets and furniture. And but he's very, very humble, right? So it took a long time to finally get him to agree to be on the camera. And in fact, I can't remember the number of the video, but it was this one day because, of course, he always makes fun of me in the background. He always makes jokes at me when I'm trying to think. And there's one day, if I can't remember the number of the video, but you'll see it if you've watched it. You see his tractor. You don't see him. He's making fun of me in the background. And I took the tripod and I unlocked it and I turned the camera on and said, just so you guys know, this is the guy that's been sitting behind the camera. And that's the very first time you ever saw Guy's face. True story.
That is funny.
Yeah, but he's.
I have an awful lot of fun with the guy when I'm up there. We have lots of good laughs, anyways.
Yeah. So. Well, there's always an adventure when Andrew Easton comes to town. Always an adventure. Just never caught on camera.
Never caught it.
No, you know.
This never goes to YouTube.
No. You don't want that stuff on YouTube. But every single time, no lying, no exaggeration. Every time Andrew Easton has come to town, there has been an adventure that you have not seen on my YouTube channel because we don't want to show it.
Every single time, that time me and Jerry went up there with a big trailer. We started by running the trailer to the side of guy's garage.
That's right.
Great big car hog. Gord filming the video on the way in, and then Jerry clips the side of his eave.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
And we buried the truck in the ditch.
Yeah. And then we almost dropped that 2228 off the trailer.
Oh yeah, that was
ripped the gas line.
That was like the first time I ever met you. It was like 5 minutes, like first time I ever met you ever.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh wow.
Hey, James just asked a question. Does Guy have a lot of firewood on his property? This has come up a lot of times. So you'll remember over the last few years, there's a large portion of our time that we spent in a specific area. Guy's got about 120, 130 acres of land. And there's a piece way, way, way back where we've cleared for a number of years. And a lot of people said, are you guys clear cutting that area and stuff? It wasn't that we were clear cutting it, but Guy had, and I don't mind sharing this now, it's not going to come to fruition now, but if you look through some of those videos, you'll see there was a ridge and there was a high part of that ridge. And we always had this thought about building a little guys, a man cave in a little lodge on the top of that ridge overseeing that clearing. And sadly, I don't think it's going to happen now. But when folks ask about that, that's why. It was a very high point in this forest that allowed you to look over a large portion. And we always talked about getting, maybe like a 10 by 16 kind of log cabin, clearing that space, putting the cabin in with, a little wood stove. And that's, where Husky Bob and him and I and Bill and John and Ralph and Chuck and everything could come hang out in the forest and, drink coffee and hang out and tell stories. And it's kind of, it saddens me because it was a kind of a little bit of a dream, but it's not going to come to fruition. But we were not clear cutting. As far as the firewood on the property, he's got more firewood. A lot of people will say sometimes, you're dropping a lot of trees. You're killing that forest. Well, we're not. It's 130 acres of land. And this area, as you know, Andrew and Kev, you might know, this area was logged for decades, long before we all got here. and Guy's property in particular was logged. And this is the growth. The forest replenishes itself. And so for his firewood needs, there is never going to be a point in time in the future where he could fell more trees than the forest can replenish to feed his heating needs.
For you guys on 120 or 130 acres of woodlot taking out for yourself, personal use, you are never going to take too much.
No,
it's
never
impossible.
happen.
Not on that kind of land.
And despite my fine, specimen of a body and my acumen of, being athletic, I can't fell that many trees in a year. But funny, somebody else just asked about Guy's dog. Coda is awesome. And Little Bear, you guys probably saw his new dog that he got, the new German Shepherd. He is so hilarious. He is constantly, because he's like full of energy, right? He's constantly bugging the crap out of Coda. And you saw in the video released last week where Coda is jumping up on the wood pile right beside the East-made axis. And Bear's not big enough to get up there. So that's kind of Coda's little safe spot, because Little Bear is always like at him trying to play and biting at him and chasing him. And so you see him run up on that wood pile right beside the axis. That's where he's safe, because Bear's not big enough to get up there yet. It's too funny to watch him, and it's way too funny.
Oh, wow. Iron and Oak saying howdy, just getting in from busting a few cords of wood open with his 1222. How are you guys doing?
Nice.
Great.
Getting there, Pat. When is there going to be a bloopers video?
On which channel?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
There'd probably be a lot of beeps on mine.
Yeah.
If there ever was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bloopers are one of them. And good on you for posting that. It's a lot of people don't see what goes on behind the scenes, and the amount of, being able to do one. It's nice when it happens. You can go flow through the whole thing without a problem, but it's like you misspeak or you say something.
Yeah, exactly, Kevin.
It all happens.
And every video, and that's what I love about YouTube. I can edit it all out, because honest to goodness, I got to put huge props out to Neighbor Guy and Husky Bob, because they put up with me every time we're out in the forest. And you folks see, the edited version, and these guys are still, oh, Dan, cut it out. You saw my comment today. I told you I had a nap. And I had a shower. That's how I'm awake right now. But seriously, these guys put up, because I am terrible. I do 20 retakes, 30 retakes every day. And poor Guy, like Andrew's met, Easter-made Bob and Guy, and they're so kind. But Guy will roll his eyes because I'm doing another retake, and I'm like, wait, don't start that chainsaw yet. No, wait, don't split that wood. Don't split that block. I got to retake. And Bobby is much more controlled. Guy, because we've known each other longer, he's just like, he's rolling his eyes, he's turning away, he's making faces at me. But the good thing about editing YouTube is you folks don't see that, because literally, probably like yourself, Cav or Andrew, I usually have 60, 70, 80 different clips from 2 or 3 cameras that you've got to combine together and somehow shrink to a 10 to 15 minute video.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, of course, are, me goofing off or, retakes because you mess something up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really, really hard to do. It's really, really hard to talk to yourself and stay on course and on track and get your message across. It is incredibly. I'm sure the neighbors out here, if they think I'm nuts, because I'll be out back and I'll be talking to myself, and halfway through the middle of it, I'll start cursing and swearing.
Yeah.
That's right. Shibe, thank you so much. That's pretty cool. Wow.
Cheers, Shibe.
Well, I'll give you a little.
I was wondering where you were.
Yeah. There you
nice
go.
To see
Thank
you
you so much for dropping in. And Dan's here from Back 40 Firewood as well. Sean's here.
Yeah.
Glenn. Oh, Ed from My Cluttered Garage. Thanks so much, Ed, for dropping in, man. That's great.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. Appreciate
I gotta talk to, since we have these guys on, I don't know what they're going on about this 500i still, because I hear 462 is the cat's meow. It might just be me.
That doesn't sound like a Husqvarna number.
It's not. Say that. Well, Easton Bay Bob was here, we'd have a whole new different dynamic to the call.
That's exactly it.
So my cluttered garage, I don't like recording with anyone around, and I'm with you. I'm kind of the same way. It's, if there's a whole bunch of people around and I just feel like that person holding my camera in front of me, like staring at me, even with the boss around, I'm like that. Not that usually if he is around, he sees me doing that, I probably should be working, but he's pretty good on that.
Can we talk about the boss and what you do, Kev? Do we got a minute to do that?
Well, I just film. That's all I do. I'm a paid actor.
Actor, entertainer. Yeah, Ernest Borgnine. There you go. So hey, Red Green, I had this question, and Andrew, it's probably really relative to you as well as especially to Kev for what he does. You look at the different splitters that are out there, and different people have different needs, or they split more wood than others, etc. But how do you figure out when you got to a point where you need to jump from a splitter to a wood processor? What's that look like from a practical perspective of pumping out firewood, right, in my mind, and I get to a certain point where, man, I need to invest in a wood processor and jump from a commercial splitter. Anybody? Bueller? Anybody?
So I think Andrew kind of throws out like 300 cord, right? Like full cord. I think that's the number you kind of say.
Yeah, and like we've had people buy them with they do less wood.
Yeah.
Like the biggest thing is how much time you have to invest in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you can afford to buy one and have the payment on it, it's an asset regardless, right? And it's an asset that holds its value very well. So if you can afford to buy one, or you have the cash flow and the capital to do that, then it's a good cash business for a lot of guys. I hope the CRA isn't listening, but that's what it is, right? For a lot of guys, it's spending money in their pocket, and it's a way to turn that into money. But I would say 200-300 cord would be kind of where the threshold would be, and if they're less than that, like we have guys that buy processors and put 15-20 hours on the mirror. We've had guys do that hardly run them, but it's enough to do my house, my neighbor's house, and 10 other people, and that's great.
Yeah, we were about 300 full cord by the time we got ours, but we're kind of the situation we were in. It was lucky kind of with a job, which helped kind of fund stepping in, I think, into getting a processor. Okay. But we're logging ourselves, so that cost of purchasing logs is down, right? We've just got the, paying stumpage and trucking and whatever little bit of labor that we put in putting it up. And we had guaranteed a couple of custom jobs that we were doing, so we knew they were happening. Now, that was back in 2016, I think we bought the first 3,000. So now we're big enough. We basically do ours, our buddies, and that's it. We don't take in any custom work. There's no need to. We're just busy enough as it is, right? We don't need to do it, and we're ahead now, right? We've caught up on it. But some guys say you need more than 300. It's everybody's situation, right? Right. Some guys are charging, $200 a cord of wood. Well, it's what's your spread as well, right? You really got to crunch the numbers. And if you don't have a skid steer, then now you got to buy support equipment, right? Do you need another person for labor? It's right. Now you're really stepping up too. You've got to think along those lines.
Yeah, because we only do about 35 cord a year between, Husky Bob and Guy and Ralph and John and Bill. But when you rolled down the concession road with that 22 MB, it was magic. I mean, I could not believe how fast you can shoot wood out of that thing into a trailer and go stack it. And we were all, you've got, well, in all fairness, neighbor guy's never had it so good. He was so grateful because we filled that shed like in no time this last year. But then you start thinking to yourself, that thing was wicked. Like we got the log trailer, if we could pull all the logs up into that field and just blow them through a processor, but we're not selling wood, right? It's all for the folks on the concession, because as you know, I'm very fortunate and grateful that we have so many good neighbors. I mean, you don't see all of them because some of us we don't see eye to eye, but for all the guys we do and all of our wood needs for heating in the winter, that is absolutely ridiculous how you can dump a log on that tray and it rolls through, feeds it, pumps it out, dumps it into Ralph's, dump trailer, and you drop it off at whatever neighbor. And you almost think that if you get together as a community, as many of them have on different pieces of equipment, right? They all have a share in it, right? We buy equipment collectively. And you think, geez, if you could have that wood processor and you fed everybody on the concession road, that's not a bad gig.
No, not at all. Like, you'd be surprised at how many people buy it that are in that situation, that their communities or wood ministries or community things like that'll buy them. And just for reference, like the premium on the machine on like a 48C with nothing down on, you're about 41,000 Canadian dollars a year. Is what the payment would be on it. So if you look at it, that 250-300 quart a year will be what would be financially feasible for most people. And the big thing's the asset. And in order to achieve that, it's not you're running the machine 100 hours maybe.
Yeah.
And in terms of an investment compared to any other heavy equipment, it's really it makes good sense.
Yeah, no, that's great. Dan is like, he's got a bag of jokes. I'm pretty sure Amanda feeds him. Like she feeds him all the good stuff.
He's gonna have to be muted. We might have to mute him. I don't know if you saw this one, Andrew. This is
I seen that one for sure. I got that one there just for Dan's.
There you go.
It's got Dan's name right on it. I got it just for you, Dad.
There you go. Well, you know what, Andrew, is I told Dan several times, because he's a big chicken, I told him, if you ever have the balls to bring that 500i up to Canada, I'm pretty sure between you and me and Kev, we could make sure we show him a little Canadian hospitality, but he won't come north of the border. He's kind of skittish. I don't know why, because I hear we're supposed to be pretty polite, nice people up here. But he keeps his 500i down there, makes it look good. You notice that he always rolls into every log, But he's not sporting any East-made equipment down there, and that's the thing that makes him a little sketchy, And it's, I don't know. I'm just thinking he might want to come north of the border at some point. Between nap times, of course. I don't want him here when I'm napping.
That's exactly it.
There you go.
Nap time is very important here in Canada.
Yeah, that's it. So, Andrew, can I ask you a couple of questions, buddy?
Yeah, sure.
All right. And I know we've talked about some of this in the past, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I got to ask you. So I got a thing. I've done a lot of research on buckets for the track. And there you go. But the problem is there is no company in the world that makes a firewood bucket. They make rock buckets, which are way overweight. They're like 500-pound, 600-pound buckets. And they're designed, of course, to go through farmers' fields. But a lot of guys buy these buckets to dig into their firewood piles. And I'm thinking, firewood is not as heavy as big granite boulders that we have up here in the Canadian Shield. could we not create a firewood bucket that's a little better, a little less weight on the, hear me out. I hear you. You're about to talk. Hang on. Hear me out. 60 inches on my LX 2610. It's got the tines. It's got the, 1.5 inch spaces between the bars. So I can dig into a firewood pile right after I've dumped it off of your fancy processor. And that way, all of the nasty stuff shakes through the little holes, and I can get it over to Guy's Woodshed. And it could be a little more reasonably priced as opposed to a full heavy-duty 600-pound rock bucket, which a lot of guys are buying to use for firewood buckets. Andrew Easton, you're on the spot. Shoot.
It's really hard to build something inexpensive and still be good. Like for us guys, like the material in it versus building one that was light versus one that was heavy really isn't going to be huge difference, and then the labor is the same.
Okay, right.
And like that's what we run into with processors. Like we've looked into like building a processor in that $60,000, $70,000 range, and you just can't do it. Like you can't build it.
Yeah,
it's really hard to build something good,
and
keep it cost effective. Because if you want to do it right, like there's a lot of welding and stuff involved in that to be able to achieve that, and it's very, very difficult. I think I may end up taking you up on this just to get you an orange and blue bucket for the front of your Kubota.
Well, you know what? I'd take it because, honest to God, if you're making it, I don't even second guess it. And hey, Sheeb, you can come up with your wife and with Amanda and Dan. I saw you. Yeah, bring your own 500 because my 462, when it eventually gets here at some point in the next few months, it'll blow you guys away. But no, thanks a lot, Andrew. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people, and what I was hoping you would talk about tonight is you don't build mass market equipment. You build premium equipment, and that comes with a premium price. And I know we talked about this before because that firewood bucket for me has been a bit of a sticker for about a year and a half because nobody builds a firewood bucket. So there's several other channels out there that have rock buckets, which they use to dig into their firewood bucket. But I understand your point. The labor is the same. You're not going to build something substandard. And so it may not be the heft of a rock bucket that a farmer would use in an agricultural field, but it's still going to cost some bucks because you're not building something substandard. I get it. It's just a tough thing.
That's the hardest part of it. Like even like with building the splitters, like we've tried to build them cheaper and like we've looked at them a lot of different ways to try and save some cost on them, and it's not worth doing it because when you end up building something cheaper or less than what's expected out of you, it just always comes back to bite you in the arse.
Yeah, for sure.
We're the same. We use a stone bucket. We've used it since we've basically got the processor, and it works good. But it's you got to modify the back on it and everything. It's for us. It's
do you use it on your skid steer, Kev?
Yeah. We use it either on we got a small K60 XT, and we've put it on the Kubota's SUV or SVL 90 and 95.
Did you see that new one that just came out? That huge one, the 1000 or whatever it's called, the SVL.
Oh, 1000 yeah, that's quite the unit. It's a strong unit.
Yeah, I'll bet. But that's what you use the bucket on when you you dig into your firewood piles.
Yeah. But it's not, you need a disc cleaner or a tumbler, some sort of cleaner. Like it just won't, guys try to use them to get the wood debris out and the fines.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't, it's too slow. You need a tumbler or a disc cleaner.
And I think the hard part for Gord's situation is like to buy one of those rock buckets for a smaller compact tractor like that. It's heavy on it's all of it, right?
It's 600 pounds, 500 to 600 pounds. Those things.
Even on my L6060, like the rock bucket we have at the shop, that on the L66, like you know it's on there. You want to have something, even with nothing in it. You want to have some ballast in the back when my tires are blown too. So
yeah. And so, if I could just kind of piggyback on that, since I got you on the spot, Andrew. And first of all, in case my daughter's watching, I just wanted to say, I know you're watching, and I miss you, and I'll be home Monday. But hey, back to you, Andrew. So, second thing, I know we've talked about this in the past. You've got, and I'm not saying this just because we're on the live stream together. Hands down, I've now had 9 different splitters on this channel since I started it. But have you ever thought about making a residential grade or consumer grade splitter? Because all your stuff is hard commercial grade stuff. Have you ever thought about making an entry or a residential consumer grade splitter setup?
We certainly have. It's just like, again, like if we did it, like it wouldn't. I don't think it'd be under the Easton Made umbrella. Like if I did it, I don't think it would
brand it separately.
Yeah, I think if we were gonna do it, I would brand it separately. It would be brand B whatever, right? Like I don't think I would tie the Easton Made name to it if we ended up going that way, because we've worked so hard, with so much time and effort, and to making the Easton Made brand like the commercial heavy duty brand that it is, that I wouldn't want to compromise that or sour that in any possible way at all. So
yeah, okay, I understand. Yeah, it's just I just figure that the engineering and the ideas that you have in the commercial space, I just, there's something that tells me that if you, and I know it's not going to be the same grade steel or the same grade components, but there's that gap, right? Because you've got people that are, doing 3, 5, 6 cords a year versus people doing 50 cords a year or 35, 50 cords a year or more. And if the same thinking or engineering and thought of, because the thing that I love about the splitters is it's not just about that big, thick, huge H-beam or I-beam. It's all of the consumer or touchy-feely stuff. It's like Audi, right? Or BMW or Mercedes. Yeah. It's like, it's not just the steel, it's the auto return or the auto retract. It's the log lift. It's those things. And if there's some way to bring it down to somebody that says, hey, you know what? I got my property. I'm only doing 5, 6, 8 cords a year, but I want, I'm 60 or I'm 65. I want that log lift. I want a big pusher plate. I want a 4-way wedge. I want a big, retrieving tray. You know what I mean? But at a residential level, and I get it, in order to make it competitive at a residential level, it means that you've got to, use the ideas that you've created on the commercial space, but downsize it to residential, which means it's not going to be as big steel or as robust as the commercial stuff you make.
Yeah, and that's, I'm just looking right now, like for example, like the 27-ton Champion Canadian Tire is $24.99. I don't know if I could buy the parts for that. Like I don't know if I could buy like the filters and even if I went with like bare bones minimum stuff, I don't think I could buy the parts for what a lot of these are selling for. That Champion at $2,500, Canadian Tires marked it up double.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
I think like they built it and sold it to Canadian Tire for $1,200-$1,300 and made a profit on it. I don't know how they do that. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think Wayne's got a pretty good kind of point here. And that's, I'm guessing, why you wouldn't put it under the same name.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Kev? I gotta get out. I gotta up on my my post here because Wayne is bang on. I realize we have a lot of opportunity here of buying different products. And especially after the last couple of years, I'm just throwing this out because I don't want to be political or create a drama or any arguments, but I think it's so critically important that when you're looking to buy something, whether it's for yourself or your family, your property, look in Canada, look in North America before you consider other things. You got to remember, like, if you look at StatsCan, you'll know that people like Andrew Easton, who go out on a limb and take a risk, a gentleman out in Saskatchewan, Gord, Tim down in Connecticut, Austin at Logox, and then most recently Jeff at JU Fabworks. These people are creating jobs in our country or in our continent. And yeah, they're a little more expensive than what you're going to get knocked off from some other country. But it's the same as me up here. And I'm going to tell you, and I don't mind stepping out on the pedestal here. It's about a 3-hour drive from the city to get up here in the middle of the rurals where my cabin is. I never, ever buy my groceries or my gas in the city when I'm coming up here. I buy my, coffee and any other libations, my groceries, my gas. I buy it locally. Because all of these little companies or these little retail outlets, gas stations, they're all mom and pop shops. They're family-owned businesses up here. And the only way they survive is on you and me and everybody else watching the show. So I'm not going to tell you I don't buy things off of Amazon, but I can promise you this. If it's a piece of equipment that I can get here or in North America versus overseas, despite the price difference, I always try to buy here. I do. And especially after the last couple of years, there are so many small businesses that have been hurting or closed up because of the extension of the difficulties that we as in our generation have faced, since the Spanish flu, right? And so when I come up here, I don't ever buy my groceries. If I need stuff, I need bolts, nuts, any type of hardware, I buy them locally in the nearest town about 45 minutes away at the hardware store there. I do it. And the reason I do, whether it's more expensive or not, is because I know that here in this province in Ontario, Canada, 48% of the jobs created in this province are from small and medium business. It's not the GMs and the Fords. It's not Dodge. It's not. It's small to medium business of people who have put that risk out for their families. And right. Yeah, and the thing that really hurt me a lot, and this is where the FTC in the United States has to do a better job, and here in Canada, JU Fabworks, Jeff, you guys saw that I just put those grab hooks on my bucket. It's the first time I've ever decided I would drill holes in my bucket because you know me, I'm a little risk averse. Well, Andrew knows more than you do, Kev. I don't want to do nothing with that tractor while it's under warranty. This thing is like an OEM product. I found out from one of our friends in the industry that there's a Chinese let me rephrase that. There's a company in another country that's doing a knock of his exact product using his exact branding and product names at a fraction of the price. This is what kills jobs.
Yep.
And this is what kills the growth or our economic recovery. Anyways, that's my piece. I'm off the pedestal. Move on, Skeeter Kev, before I get crazy.
But to add to this, though, you're right. I look around our yard, and there's more Canadian bought stuff in there than anything else. And whether it's Canadian or let's say North America, yeah, if you're buying it here in North America, you're going to be better ahead. Whether it's buying a processor or whatever, buy in North
Bottom
America.
Bottom line is quality is first, right?
Yeah.
Price, of course, is because we don't have endless wallets, but you've got to do that look and say, you look across and you say every time. You know what? You don't remember the glove series, the work glove series I started in October. Oh my goodness, I had no idea that we were all in the same boat. there's so many. I just bought another pair of gloves for the summer, and I bought them from a company in the US who has ties to Ontario, Andrew. Kind of like you and I in our 20s. And I'll leave it for that until you see the video, but as soon as you watch it, you're going to smile and laugh because we all did the same thing. But ironically, what I've learned over the last 5 months of doing this big glove, work glove expose, is that most of the gloves that we buy, whether the company's Canadian or in the US, most of the gloves are actually made offshore in a different country, which is totally cool if they make a good product. I mean, like, still, my chainsaw is made in Germany, but it's a highly engineered product that I can't find here. So I got no problem with that. But stay tuned for the next pair of work gloves, which is coming out in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that because I want to see what you end up using. And it's funny you bring up about the gloves. We actually have Superior Glove here in town.
Right on.
Yeah.
And do they make them in town?
Yep. Yeah, they make them right here. I think we're the head office of Superior Glove. Because it's here in Newfoundland.
Nice. You guys ever been to Newfoundland?
I never
remember. Oh my gosh, that hill where the first microwave went across the Atlantic. I forget what it's called. Because I've had a number of friends that are Newfies. Of course, they're a whole lot of fun to be with on a weekend. Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
We got a lot of Newfies in town, so
but Beacon Hill or whatever it's called, just a beautiful province. And if you ever get to Newfoundland, if any of you guys that are watching, you've got to get down to St. John and go through that bar district where all the restaurants are. It is such a party and such a great Canadian time. You go from one place to another, right down. I forget the name of the street because I won't tell you why I forget. There's obviously a reason why I do, but it is the best time you'll ever have in your life. And if you can get screeched in, become an honorary Newfoundlander. It's just such a hoot. Kiss the cod,
Kiss the cod and shot a screech.
Signal Hill. Thank you, B. Yeah, that's it. Signal Hill. Yeah. Awesome. Yep. Kiss the cod, get screeched in.
We got James, he's saying lives in the city, tries to buy as much as possible from local places near his parents. And he'd rather support the little guy. Uses Interact, adult small businesses rather than Visa. Use Visa, it's great. Like what, 2.5% they got to pay on it.
It's more like 4.5% to 3%. If somebody wants to pay for the whole one, put it on credit card. We charge it for you. It's I was doing that. We were taking credit cards for all of them, and it just ended up being an extreme expense at the end of it. And it's funny you were talking about the like the overseas stuff, like in a lot of the developed world. I think there a lot of them are in the same situation where we are. Like the cost of doing business and manufacturing in Ontario is insane. And I'd imagine it's the same for almost anywhere else in North America. Me and Stacey were talking about it yesterday. Like the hydro bill, like just for example, the hydro bill at the shop's around $5,000 a month.
Jeez,
that's not natural gas. That's not like it's insane. Like it's. I think the natural gas is probably $4,000 or $5,000 a month right now, in around there. Like, but the time you kick the doors open, like just to go to work and do business, it's so expensive. Let alone all of the other regulations you have to follow and conform to. In the meantime, it's very, very difficult to avoid the exorbitant overhead that you have to do.
Well, you know what you got to do, Andrew? You got to catch up with John Yakubuski and tell him, because we're in an election cycle right now. Just tell him these commercial rates have got to come down, or I'm not voting for Doug Ford again.
That's exactly it. We were me and Brady, the fellow that our financial coordinator, and he does all of our books and stuff. He's a really sharp guy, and we were talking about doing solar panels on the roof. Though I wonder if it actually worth doing the whole shop solar. Like what it actually pay, like for what we spend in electricity, right? It might almost be worth doing if you could get a big enough system to run everything.
I would offer to you, being off grid myself, as you know, I have no electricity. I'm totally solar. I'm 100% solar. Make sure you do a large part of those panels on ground mount, because as you know, once you get into mid to late November, right through to March, you're not generating anything off that roof because you've got too much snow on top of them.
Oh yeah, I definitely have to go off and shovel off some panels here and there.
Well, I can tell you, I bought myself a 20-foot roof rake, and of course I got my ladder, and it's just brutal because, you know, when you talk to solar companies, they're all about selling you a system, right? They're like, so right where I am, as you know where I am, Andrew, according to StatsCan, I get an average of 3.2 hours of sunlight per day. Now that's an average across 365 days. But when I get into the winter, there is nothing coming off that roof. No. And you can't clear it because you spend 2 or 3 hours hauling that ladder out in 2 or 3 feet of snow, throwing it up against the side of the roof, getting up with my big old roof rake and dragging the snow off of those panels. And you finally think you're okay. You go to bed, you wake up the next morning, and you got another 6 inches of snow. It's done. So if you are going to do it, you can absolutely generate a crap load of power if you have a big enough array and you put it on the ground. Because if it's on the ground on a ground mount, especially if it's got that auto tilt, you can walk up there with a broom or roofer and clear those panels every day and keep it pumping through the winter. It's not the summer. Like here at the cottage, I only have about 1.7 kilowatts. But from about mid to late May, right through to the middle of September, my backup generator virtually never runs because I produce enough power to store in my batteries to keep the house going.
Oh, wow.
It's when you get into the late September, generator starts to run a little more often, get through October, and as soon as the snow hits and you get a few inches on top of those panels, it's, you know, in the words of Chris from In the Woodyard, good night, Irene.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that generator runs all winter.
So does the generator just fire up automatically to boost up your batteries all the time? Like even when you're not there?
Oh, it is. And, you know, I got to tell you, the technology behind solar is incredible. If you are a residential user, in all fairness, at least here in Ontario, not California or Arizona, and in some parts of New York, it depends on your usage, et cetera. But here in Ontario, there is absolutely no financial business case to having a solar system over being connected to the grid. There just isn't yet. And I think over time in the years to come, that may change as prices continue to come down. But at the end of the day, for me here, I had no choice, right? I'm a mile off the concession road. The cost of trying to bring wires in was ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So it made total sense for me. But at the end of the day, if I had a choice, absolutely, I'd be connected to the utility for sure.
Yeah, it's tough doing it here. Like, could you not put poles in where you are? Too much granite up your way?
I will, at the sake of not saying anything disparate against other people, I would suggest to you that I did not bring poles in. Not necessarily at my choice, but at the end of the day, let's just say I couldn't get the poles and the hydro in. So I went with solar.
Yeah. I guess I should have rephrased that if you wanted to go solar. I guess, or you don't really, doesn't matter to you, or.
Well, you know what's really cool about solar.
Are you happy with the choice you made having the solar there? Do you like it?
Oh no, absolutely, 100%. I do. I'm green. You know, I'm getting it out the sun. Excuse me. What I'm hoping is when the day comes that I can actually build that garage back there.
Yeah,
I will definitely be creating a design where I have most of my surface area on the roof facing south, so I can put a lot more panels.
Yeah.
That was the one thing. If I had known better when I designed this cottage, I would have taken a different design because, as you guys know, I only have 8 panels up there because I only have surface area facing south to hold those 8 panels. Had I realized the importance of it and known what I was going to do ahead of time, I would have taken a different cabin design that would have given me much more surface area facing south. Yeah. Because, you know, despite what these solar companies will tell you when they're trying to sell you, you do not want to put panels on the east, north, or west side of your roof.
Yeah.
Because it's ridiculous because you literally, based on statistics, and you can look this up on the internet, you put panels in our position in Ontario on the east or north or west side of your roof, you will literally get no more than about 28% on a good day.
Wow.
Of the capacity of that panel, but you're paying full price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you put a panel facing south, you'll get 100% capacity. You put it on the west or the east side, you're going to get about 28% capacity on a really sunny day because it's not facing the sun. You put it on the north side, you're getting less, but you're paying full price for every panel.
Yeah, exactly. And at that point, the sales guys, they don't care. They just want that sale.
No, they layer your roof with panels, telling you how great it's going to be. It's not that great. And what they don't tell you is that, you know, they give you that 3.2 hours per day average, and here's how much you're going to generate, and you're going to save this much, but you're not.
Yeah.
Because it's an average. And when you get into the winters here, you're not generating anything unless it's ground mount and you can reach up with a broom or a roof rake and drag those panels every day.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And here, the other thing you have an issue with, especially with a cabin in a forest like I have here, is you got to remember those trees are 80, 90 feet high. So when the sun comes up in the east in the morning, I can hear that thing clicking, trying to grab connection because the sun's getting blocked by the trees because they're so high until it gets high enough that it can actually hit the panels. And then at night, I, of course, lose power or generation because it's passing and it's setting in the west and it's getting blocked by the trees on the west side of the cottage.
Yeah.
Right. Because remember, you're looking dead on. That's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And in the morning, you're waiting until 8:30, 9 o'clock until it passes to a high enough point in the sky that it's hitting the panels. And then when you get to about 5 o'clock and it starts to set, you're missing again because the trees are blocking the sun.
Yeah. I hear you.
But hands down, Kev, yeah, absolutely cool. Love solar, love being green. I just wish I'd had more panels out there. Yeah. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Now, is it a cottage or a cabin?
Well, you know what? That's an awesome question. So here's the beauty of this thing right after 4.5 to almost 5 years on YouTube. It depends where you live in the world.
Yeah.
So we know, at least me growing up, a cabin was something that your dad or your grandpa built with just a lot of wood slats, you know, wood floor, probably really small, had a wood stove in the middle of the living room where you'd play cards with your buddies in your 20s, freezing your butt off, drinking beer. Right.
Yeah.
And you'd go to bed with your parka on and all your sweaters and your clothes because it was so cold in there. And the outhouse was out the back. That's a cabin in Canada. A cottage is what I would call this to a degree. It's kind of enclosed. It may or may not be insulated. It's got some, you know, plumbing and those kind of things in it. A lodge or maybe a vacation home is more what we would call this in Canada. And for me, unlike a lot of people on this lake, I knew I wanted to be here a lot, so I insulated it. So in all fairness, this is actually, in my Canadian view, it's a home. It's a dwelling because it's completely insulated. I've got a furnace. I've got, you know, a water heater. I've got indoor plumbing. I've got a sewage system. I've got water supply. I've got everything I need in here. So in all fairness, it's a home. But when you talk to different subscribers and they leave comments over the years, they're like, oh, that's a great cabin. Well, to us, a cabin in my mind is when we used to head out with our buddies when in our 20s, drive 2 or 3 hours north in our pickup trucks, drag our coolers through the snow for a mile into the bush by a lake. You'd open the doors and the first, one guy would grab the wood to spark up the wood stove. The other guy would, get the beer out. You'd have bunk beds in this little wee tiny place with an outhouse out back. That would be a cabin. And you could almost see sometimes through the outside, slats in the walls, right?
Yeah.
That would be a cabin for us. But in other places, this is a cabin.
Yeah. And to me, it's a cottage. It's a cottage to me. That's what I would
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. Andrew, any difference, or are we talking the same language?
Well, for me, a cottage is on a body of water, where a cabin is in the woods. I guess
that's a good
point. I guess that would be the defining feature for me, I suppose.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and I got to be honest with you. I looked for 3 to 4 years for this property, and I totally tripped on this property. Because as you guys know, in Ontario and cottage country or cabin country, most properties on any lakes in Muskoka or here in the Kawarthas, etc., 90% of the properties are on a cliff to the water or some kind of a very steep hill to the water. Yeah. This thing, honest to goodness, it was a stroke of luck to have such a gentle slope to the water and to be in the bay of a lake. Yeah. And, I'm very grateful for what I stumbled upon, and I'm very happy I found it, because I certainly took my time trying to find it. And God knows I took so many 2 or 3 hour trips north over those years, meeting with real estate agents in different parts of the province, looking at properties. And I didn't, you have that list, right? When you're trying to find that cabin or that cottage property, you got a list. I want, deep at the dock. I want a nice, gentle slope to the water. I want a flat piece of land. I want forest. I want this. I want that. And so many times I went through properties and I was just like, it's just not it. And, you drive 3 hours home again and then wait until you found a few more properties, call the real estate agent, take the big road trip up there. And again, you look at it and there's this big cliff to the lake. You guys know as much as I do here in Ontario, there are so many properties, even up here when we skidoo up north through Red Lake and stuff. There are properties where guys literally have engineered tracks with, little wee cab. You've seen them. I've been on them at people's places that, they're like little cars that take you down on a cable down to the waterfront, and you push a button and it takes you back up to the top where the cottage is, because the land is so steep to the lake.
Oh yeah, 100%. There's a lot of spots where like you would have a hard time walking to the water. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's the worst part is, like, you bring the drinks and the food and everything, you get all the way down that cable car to the bottom at the dock, and then somebody goes, "Did you bring the ice?" And you're like, "Oh, ice!" You got to push the button and go all the way back up again. Yeah,
at least you don't have to walk upstairs.
Yeah, for sure.
So Brandon wants to know, Andrew, would you ever consider building a skid steer attachment to block up wood? He has an Axis and an SS 524 on order, and blocking isn't my favorite. I have no interest in a Halverson. This seems to be a common question. You guys don't want to chainsaw blocks.
No, and it is one of those things that there's a gap in the market for it. Like I've thought about it a wee, but I don't know how you would do it and do it well. Like again, it comes down to a cost versus like what the market can hold. Like can I build you a chainsaw for your skid steer? Absolutely, I could probably make you a pretty awesome one. But when you get into that, you're getting into some fairly good money to do that and do a nice job of it. Like at that point, well, what are priced at the market? I don't know if it would or not. it would be getting pretty close.
I think the biggest thing is like, yeah, I've seen others with like they're like a log grapple basically with a saw on them, but advancing the log to get those marked, you still have to mark the log. You're almost getting into like a CTL territory to be able to cut it, and they do make that for skid steers.
Yeah, and I don't know what one will be worth, Kev. I would think a CTL for a skid steer, you'd probably be in 30 or 40 grand for one.
At least.
I would think that would be it. Like on the low end, the technology to do a nice job of it is a lot more extensive than what you would likely suspect it to be.
Yeah, it's funny. The guys that have that CTL are a Mennonite crew.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they do cedar with it.
And you can tell the cost difference. So if you look at a Halverson compared to a Hahn, like Hahn's the other company that makes the skid steer splitters. There's a huge price difference in those two attachments. But
what's going on here? We're losing everyone.
You're getting a lot better product with the Hahn and the Halverson. Nothing wrong with the Halverson, but when you look at them and somebody thinks, oh well, they're the same. No, you're not even playing the same game when you compare those two attachments. That Hahn is 6 times the machine the Halverson is.
Yeah, I've never looked at them side by side, so I'm not quite sure the differences in them.
No,
firewood at the furnace is here. Can't stay long, but want to say hello.
Well, thank you. Hello.
Gord went the bed.
Yeah, I'll be honest, because you guys are all friends, or at least I consider I had to use the bathroom. I'm getting old. I can't sit this long without going to the bathroom.
Oh,
so I figured I would just
sneak out while Ed was talking. Well, don't worry about that. I've run out of the live stream lots.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was hoping nobody would point it out, but apparently a few people did. Where'd GP go? I went to the bathroom. That's where I went.
You're gonna have to get a cardboard cutout the next time we do this.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. So I wanted to throw a few things out if I could. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody's got a question.
One more question for you, Gord.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not mount the panels on poles like some people do? You can tilt them and follow the sun. Look at Lumina Acres and uncontained.
Yeah, no, you know what, Stanley? That is an awesome question. And I have debated this question with at least 3 different solar companies. So my problem is a few-fold. So remember, I'm covered and surrounded in forest with 80, 90-foot trees. I have a lakefront property, and I am 90% sure if I throw a ground mount on the front of my property with a 10 kW system, that I'm going to have a whole lot of people that are not going to be happy. Number 2, it's going to block my view of the lake. Yeah. So then I say, okay, take me back behind the cottage. And I've made that clearing, which cost me just about $3,000, where I want to put my garage. And one of my solar guys, because I have 3 of them up here, said, you know what, we could put a ground mount in that clearing. But again, remember, 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, you're getting blocked by the trees on the east until it gets high enough to pass the trees to hit those panels. Yeah. Now, absolutely, in the wintertime, I can go out there with a roof rake, clear those panels every day. Ground mount would be awesome, but I'm shrinking the amount of time every day. Second thing is, I want a garage back there. So that's why the garage design is going to have a large roof surface area facing south so I can put panels on it. But the other issue too is, since I built this cottage, and I mentioned this in a video because I have this ongoing, you guys probably don't watch it, but it's a playlist called Building a Cottage or a cottage property. And I just did this about a month ago on my last episode, is the statutes or the bylaws, depending on whether you're a provincial or municipal or federal, continue to change over time. So 10 years ago when I built this cottage, I could have done a lot more things than I can do now. Right now, because of the amendments or the changes in the local bylaws, I can't put a ground mount within 100 feet of that shoreline anymore. Yeah. On top of that, I cannot extend this solar panel without putting a permit application in. Things have changed a lot. So yeah, absolutely. If I had a big property that was kind of like Guy's property, my neighbor Guy, you know, he's got a bunch of forest, but he's also got about 10 to 15 acres of field. Yeah, I would absolutely throw a big, you know, 10 kW system out there or more to feed it, because there's no trees around. I'm going to get sun all day long. I've got a set of solar panels that are going to move with the sun, because that's what they do. But here, because I'm so enclosed by the forest, that ground mount is going to restrict the amount of power I can produce every day. But more importantly, I can't possibly put it out front for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to negate the value of my property, because nobody wants to sit on a lake and look out at a big, you know, 10 kW ground mount sitting out in front of the lake. So you got to put it behind you. You put it behind you, you're enclosed by very tall trees. So you are going to get something out of it, but I got to put my garage back there. So that's why the garage build will have a design such that the roof, or the majority or the largest, you know, footage or surface area of that roof is going to face south, so I can put panels on it. Yeah. I hope that explains it. But yeah, absolutely. If I had the choice and I had a big, wide property with a lot of open space, I would absolutely put ground mounts in. And, you know, if it was 2009 here in Ontario at 82.3 cents a kilowatt hour on a 20-year PPA from the government, I would have put in more 10 kW systems, ground mounts, than I could possibly, you know, imagine, because I'd still be getting paid 17 grand a year to dump power into the grid.
My buddy got on that.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
I wish I had. Yeah. That was a very short-lived benefit.
Anyway, go ahead what you were trying to say before we got tied up in that, in your solar question there. I don't know if you wanted to talk.
Oh, I got plenty of questions. I can go on all night.
I was just wondering what you wanted to go, if you wanted to discuss maybe that podcast you were thinking about.
Oh, the podcast.
See if anybody's.
Yeah, you know what? The podcast, I think, is a pretty cool idea. And as you know, Dan at Back 40 Firewood, Joe from Ohio Woodburners have started their own. I've been looking at this for a while, and it's a difficult, like, I continue to work on it. I think a podcast is a natural extension to a YouTube channel. It just is, because at the end of the day, you have all of the investment you need, you know, whether it's audio or visual, you know, cameras, whatever, microphones. But I think there are a couple of things that, you know, as I continue to look at this, and as you know, as I mentioned, I talk to my brother a lot. He's far smarter than I am, and he's not as good looking, though, just so we're clear. All right, that's my opinion. But the thing is that there are thousands of podcast channels, thousands. And so if you're going to make some kind of a meaningful impact or value to people, it's got to have the right content, and it's got the right foundation. So where I'm at right now is, I thought a lot about, you know, making an extension of GP Outdoors, you know, doing a podcast so you can listen in your car on the way to work, etc. I then kind of expanded that into thinking, okay, maybe that's not going to make a lot of sense, because people are watching the YouTube channel. You know, all I'm going to be doing in essence at some point is repeating things I've done on the YouTube channel. So I came up with this other idea with my brother, and I think it makes great sense. And I may or may not do that regardless, as I mentioned on the video. But at the end of the day, I threw this out to the subscribers. That's the beauty of having this big community, right? I said, here's what I'm thinking of doing. Here's where I think I'm going. And I had so many people saying to me, well, you know what? A lot of us can't watch YouTube all the time because we're in the car or we're at work, so even if you are repeating, having a podcast of your channel would be great because we can listen to it anytime. So I'm taking all that feedback as well as what I have. And at the end of the day, I think Dan and Joe did it right. From all the podcasts I normally listen to, which are largely crime-related ones because they're really cool, most of what I'm finding of a large number of successful podcasts have co-hosts. There's not one person. Because, it's like me and my brother. When we get together on the phone, we laugh, we cry, we argue, we debate. And at the end of the day, we hang up. And on a podcast, the opportunity to have two different opinions or people participating, I think, is a large ingredient to the recipe for success. In other words, you guys, if you wanted to listen to me talk for 45 minutes once a week, I'm pretty sure I'd be boring you out pretty soon. But if I was on there with somebody else who had a chance to, challenge my ideas and argue and debate, it becomes a much more compelling podcast. So I think where I'm at is you got to have two people on a podcast. You have to have a co-host. You absolutely do. That's where I'm thinking. And the second thing is where do I land on content? Because you can't think 6 months ahead. You have to think about whatever that content is, it's got to last or endure for a long period of time. So I'm still working through it. I'm still talking with Chris, my brother. I'm narrowing things down. And the other thing I just wanted to say, not to get too long-winded, is podcasts are not unlike YouTube. It's a lot of work. The difference, though, I've learned is that with YouTube, Easton Made Bob calls me tonight and says, hey, we're dragging maples out of the forest tomorrow. Are you in? I go, yeah. I bring my cameras. We do all the film work, which is a bit of work. The large part of the work happens in the editing for 8 to 10 hours. On podcasts, that work shifts to the front because you can't wing it on a podcast. Some people do, and they'll eventually pay the price for that because it'll bury them in the end.
Yeah.
You have to have scripting. You have to have a format. You have to have foundation and structure in order to push that 40 or 45-minute podcast. So your editing at the end is a little bit more minimal because it's all audio, right?
Yeah.
But in order to have it successful, the heavy lifting happens at the front instead of at the end with YouTube. And the last thing I'll say, my friend, since you brought it up, and I appreciate it, is there's also consideration to say, how much work is this going to be? And is it going to take away from the work I put in my YouTube channel? Yeah. And do I have the time to do both to the best of my ability? I'm not a video guy or an audio guy, and I try my best. But if the podcast is going to draw my time away and I'm going to do worse videos or not do as, a job to the best of my ability on YouTube, I'm going to short my subscribers, right? Because I'm going to be putting out crappy stuff. So I'm going through all of that. And like I said, my brother is super smart. He's my best friend. And we kick stuff back and forth every couple of weeks together on this thing because I think I could make a really great podcast. But before I do it, it's like Ted Rogers. Do you remember, because you guys are from Ontario, Ted Rogers, by the way, for you guys from the States, is like Ted, the cable guy in the US. Ted Rogers did this wicked interview with the Toronto Star in the late 90s after we had the CRTC in Canada dismantled that big barrier between cable and phone. And everybody was saying, like, okay, the cable guy, are you going to get into telephones? And he did this huge interview, and it was an awesome interview. It was the front page of the Toronto Star, our biggest newspaper. And he said, I'm not going to do it yet, because he said, Bell Canada, Ma Bell, has been around for 100 years. And he said, until I can find a way to do it better than her, I'm not going to enter. Hands down. Yeah. Great strategy. Why would you enter at less than or equal to the current competition? Right? And that's the same way I feel about this podcast. Unless I can kick it out of the park and make people happy and do it better than anybody else, why would I enter that space? Andrew, any thoughts?
This is why I don't do buckets.
There you go. What about for me?
You know I don't do buckets. That's exactly why, man. You hit it right in the fucking head there. If I can't,
where are you sure?
I'm not gonna get in. I'm not gonna get in the ring if I don't think I can swing. So
there you go.
Well,
I'm not gonna get in there if I can't box. I knew going into wood splitters that I going into this, I knew I was going to be able to come into this industry and build a better mousetrap.
Yeah.
The same as the processors. I wasn't going to go and change a processor on unless I knew I could build a better processor. And it's the same thing. Because you don't distinguish yourself. You don't stand out. You're just another business, and you have to be able to do it better. Exactly. Then the next guy. You have to be able to do it at a level that hasn't been achieved yet, and that's
exactly.
That's
Andrew, I'm hanging on your words, and that's what's continuing me to keep searching into this podcast thing, because it's absolutely a natural extension. But if I can't do something great, something that draws people in and says, man, that was a great 30 minutes of my time driving to work, then I don't want to do it. So I'm still working through that, because Ted Rogers, right, sitting in his fancy ass office down on York Mills and Leslie, doing that thing with the fireplace in the background, saying, I can't beat Ma Bell right now, so I'm not getting into the game. But when I'm able to beat Ma Bell, that's when I'll enter in telephony. There you go. Yeah. You heard it here on Skidder Kev tonight.
That's right. That's right. So stay tuned. We'll see what Gord comes up to, and I'll if it comes out, you'll see it on my channel. I'll be talking about it. So
we'll be there. Yeah. We'll be behind you, Gord.
For sure. I run in the processor. Thanks. I listen to podcasts all day. So and Woodhounds, that's every Wednesday. That's the first one I listen to.
Woodhounds.
That's right. Yeah. Woodhounds podcast.
That's a great podcast.
And Stuff You Should Know. I love that podcast. That is a great one to listen to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and the good thing about podcasts, you can download them at home and listen to them on the go.
There you go. Giddy up. So big questions come up. I don't know how much time we have left, because I've been talking way too much tonight, and I apologize for that. But I had this question. This thing comes up all the time on my channel. So you've got a lot of YouTube channels, and forget about YouTube. It's just people. You got people that heat in the wintertime with wood. And then you've got a lot of folks that say, since I'm bucking and splitting firewood, I'm going to, split a little more and try to sell it and create my own side hustle. That's what they call it in the States. I'm not a big fan of the word hustle. I don't know why. It has a negative connotation. What it is an opportunity to make money for your family. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And, but so many people have said, which I'm not sure I disagree with, is firewood, unless you've got it on a large scale, and Kev, this probably goes a lot to your business. Are you really saving money on a residential basis if you pay the money to install a boiler or wood stoves or ovens in your house? And instead of, notwithstanding the last, this, what I would call a bit of a change in the cost of propane and natural gas right now because of other issues. But over the long term, are you saving money burning wood, or are you better off just, burning natural gas in a furnace or propane?
I think there's money savings in it. Personally, especially if you're still old school and on oil, if you're burning furnace oil in older homes with poor insulation, you can kind of be the same way, right? It's cheaper to heat with wood than be pumping that gas in.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting it yourself, buying it is another story, and what the cost of that is, right? You got to compare all that, right? Every market has its own. You want to sell in Toronto, you could be $600 to $800 a cord, depending.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some pretty crazy prices there, but
well, here we pay about $350 to $400 a bush cord for those the viewers that are in the States. Bush cord, 3-phase cord, so
a full cord.
Yeah, and that should be seasoned hardwood, not softwood.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we're around the same price in our area too. I think you are too there, Andrew, aren't you?
Yeah, we're right around that. We would be anywhere through $300 to $400 for a full cord of wood, in around there. And again, in terms of cost savings, it depends on the infrastructure that's available. I don't have natural gas, or I heat some of the house with propane. Then I have a wood insert. For the most part, the wood insert runs, and I might burn. Cost wise, maybe $300 a wood a year, $400 a wood a year. Like it's a very, very minimal cost compared to what it would be for propane or oil.
Okay.
So in that respect, but it kind of depends on how much you have to. You have the budget for it too. Because I could probably heat the whole house with propane for the year for $1,000 or $1,200, right? So if you have the extra $600 or $900 kicking around, then it makes probably good sense to go with propane. The other end of it too is like with the quality of the heat too. I find you have a lot better quality heat out of the wood too, and I guess that would just be a preference on my end of it more than anything. But
yeah, gotcha. And hey, Neil Cottage is in the house. I just want to say hello to Neil.
He's got a great. How you doing? Yeah. To add to my answer on this too, I'll give the other side of it. The house I live in an old wartime home, story and a half. No wood stove in it. We're heated with natural gas. We're in town, which is fantastic. For me to put a wood stove in or a insert in a chimney, it would take years and years and years and years to pay that off for the price of natural gas, right? So it's in that way, it's really not cost effective. If somebody asked me, my neighborhood, is it worth putting a wood stove in? I'd say probably not, because you'd probably be around, $3,000-$4,000 by the time it's all said and done.
Mm-hmm.
And then your extra insurance on top of it.
Yeah, for sure. But what I tend to find is, and this is just, the world according to GP again, because I have my own, I spend a lot of time alone, right? So
great. That's a great podcast name.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. If you've got property and you love being outdoors, this is the frame, right? And this is the frame I look at. Like when Oski Bob sends me a text or guy calls and says, "Oh, we're going out in the forest. We're cutting down that big oak tomorrow. Are you in?" Well, it's not about firewood anymore. It's not about the work. It's about hanging out with your buddies, right? We're Canadian, right? It's like Andrew, we were talking about earlier with snowmobiles and stuff. It's just like getting out with your pals.
Oh, 100%.
And the work is not really work anymore. And so when you have like yesterday, I told you it was 12 degrees, clear blue skies, sunny. We were in t-shirts. And neighbor Ralph was there, which you guys met this last summer. He's new. He just moved in last year. And Guy and Easton made Bob and me, and I don't know. There's a feeling, right? And so if you create firewood, and what's really nice in the concession is so many of us, we get together and we buck and split that firewood for all of us.
Yeah,
it's not. There's a. What do you say? You remember back in school, there was like qualitative measures and quantitative measures, right? And qualitative, I think if I remember, was kind of unmeasurable benefits. and qualitative, I think, was measurable, if I remember correctly. There's this huge benefit of hanging out, getting exercise, being out in the fresh air, doing stuff. And when you've got a really great splitter or good equipment, you're doing it more efficiently. But it's not about, to some degree, it's efficiency, and to some degree, it's you're getting this stuff done. And as a community, you're making sure everybody's got heat this winter. That's the big thing, right? And especially, Andrew's been up here a few times. He knows a lot of these guys along the concession road, they're not young like me. They're a little bit more wiser. And you're watching out for each other, right? Because, over the last 6-7 years, there's been more than one winter where somebody's like, I'm running out of firewood. And what do? You kick into gear.
Yep.
There's no chance anybody's going cold.
Yeah.
And it brings you together, right? And so, when you look at, which I'm very humbled by, Andrew, your generosity and your kindness of sending me equipment, which I've never had the opportunity to experience before. Like, this stuff is, your equipment is top grade commercial stuff, which we've never had before. And it just changes everything. You remember when you brought that 22 MB, all those guys lined up, like Ralph, John,
that was a lot of fun,
they're all had to see it, right? We don't see that up here, and it was pretty cool. But anyways, at the end of the day, I think there's something beyond the financial analysis of firewood for burning. That's all I would offer to you.
Yeah. So to kind of carry on with another
coffee cup,
a GP coffee
cup.
Yeah. Videos by Al. So he's got, I'm sure he's all right with me saying this because we talk a lot. He's got a sawmill there. Mm-hmm. He's got a YouTube channel. Great channel. Yeah. So LP for him would cost him $16K. New outdoor burners are $13K. He heats he actually runs two outdoor burners. He heats his house, his shop, and 2 lumber drying kilns with it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So for him, and he burns his scraps.
Yeah.
Like his slab wood and that, I believe, is all burnt in there, and any cutoffs and stuff. So yeah, for him, it's a huge cost savings.
It'd be big time,
yeah.
We're not sawing with Sandy's on. Sandy.
Yeah. So sawing with Sandy.
Got a great channel.
I'll have to check her channel out.
It's him.
Sorry, him.
Yeah.
Him. Sorry, him. Yeah. I made a mistake on that. I am sorry about that.
No, he's got an awesome channel. He's got a woodland mill, and he's working hard every day. He's 2 thumbs up on him. That's all I can say. But
sorry about that, Sandy. I'll be checking out your channel. But he had a good question. He wanted to do a quick vote: wood stove or outdoor boiler? So that's for me. If I had a choice, if I was heating mine and I had my my shop I'm dreaming about building, just like you, a garage. All I want is a garage.
Yeah.
Heating everything with a wood boiler. That's the way I'd want to do it instead of a wood stove. At least I can heat both.
That is a really cool answer because I got to tell you, Kev, from my perspective, again, Andrew's been out to the guy's place and my place, 4 or 5 times now. Guys had that wood boiler out in the woodshed for about 20, 22 years. He's had that thing. What I would offer is, number one, and I'm happy to debate it or discuss with people, but I don't think wood boilers are very efficient.
No.
Energy efficient, I mean.
Like, if you get a conventional wood boiler like what I have or what Guy has, they're the opposite of efficient. Like I would go with a wood boiler, like a high efficiency, like a gasification wood boiler. I think they're a really, really great outfit. Like the ones like what me and Guy have, they're just not efficient. They just chew through the wood.
No, And we burn a lot of wood. But for me, especially at the cabin / cottage / lodge / vacation home / whatever part of the world you live in, one of the, I think, errors I made is I put in a propane fireplace. I should have put a wood burning one in as well, because the nice thing about that wood burning fireplace is that aroma, that smell, the heat coming off of those logs. And honest to God, like Husky Bob, or sorry, Easton Made Bob did it the right way. He's got a furnace off of propane when he needs it in the deep, dark cold of the winter, right? Because we get down to -35, -37 here. It's Celsius. But generally speaking, he heats with his wood stove. And as you know, Easton Made Bob has, kind of an affliction to elm. He basically burns nothing but elm. I don't know why, but he does. But the smell, he says, the smell or the aroma, that warmth and that comfort that he gets out of it is why he burns elm. And so you miss that if you're throwing a boiler 100 feet or 150 feet away from your building into a woodshed or the back of your property. You don't get that smell. You don't get that comfort. You don't get that natural warmth that comes out of that wood burning stove. So as a person who doesn't have one here, but as a person that's hung out with Guy with this wood boiler and hung out at Husky Bob, sitting in a chair in his living room in front of that wood burning stove with, maybe a coffee in my hand. There's something to be said about having that natural fire in a wood stove in front of you. Yeah. And that smell, the smell, like you either love it or you don't. And for me, again, this comes back to that Outdoors Channel thing. You either like it or you don't. And I got to tell you, I love the smell of burning wood. I just do.
We have our house set up very much same as that, Gordon. We have a propane forced air furnace here, and then we have a wood stove in the living room here, and it's like we will run the wood stove most of the time. We normally have the furnace turned off, and then the nice thing about having it set up like that is the furnace or the stove will heat most of the house, and then the bedrooms and stuff stay relatively cool for night. So it's really we're really impressed with the setup, and we've been like I burned maybe 5 face quarter wood this year.
Yeah, how many? Sorry,
about 5 face quarter to heat the whole house.
Oh, that's it, eh? And I apologize. Did you say that the wood burning stove is in the bedroom?
No. It's
oh, okay.
No. We don't want to get that out of there, Gord.
No, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking Barry White, a little bit. You're throwing the fire on, and
I'll normally get a ladle and splash some on top of it just to set the mood.
That does it every time. There you go. You're such a romantic, Andrew.
Oh, well, yeah, that's exactly it.
There you have it. Sorry, I missed that.
Mike from Outdoors with the Morgans. How you doing?
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Elm, not a fan. Just ordered 4 loads of poles and said no elm.
Wow. Well, first of all,
and Mike, I just need to say, Mike, you need to check your emails. I sent you an email. You got to check it. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Gord.
No, it's really cool. First of all, I love Mike and Melissa. I was actually. It's ironic because as I slowly grow the channel, I was the 463rd or 466th subscriber to Mike's channel way back when. Well, he's just such a nice guy. And, And he just, I don't know, there was something about him. He was just very kind. He had a kind way about him. And it's funny because, when he talks about elm there, I know that he's down in Pennsylvania or whatever, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he's got for elm, but up here, as you guys know, elm is pretty big. And It's stringy. It's nasty to split in a lot of ways. But when you look at the scale between maple, ash, elm, beech, etc., elm is not too bad from a BTU content when it's seasoned. It's towards the top. But what Easton Made Bob says is the aroma that comes off it in the wood stove is much better. He likes that smell. And yeah, you know what? Everybody looks at things differently. You know, up here in the forest, our beech trees, you know, and you remember, Andrew, a couple of weeks ago, you did a video on the splitter and you were pumping wood. And I asked you, what kind of wood was that? And you said it was beech.
Yep.
Beech is super hardwood up here, and it has huge BTUs, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
and I remember
beech has a lot of heat in it, and it's depending on the beech holds a lot of moisture in it. It's a lot like oak. Like it needs to dry for a good year.
Yeah,
and then depending on where it is, like I've split beech. It splits just beautiful. It's nice stuff to split, and then I've split some that's just the dirtiest, most rotten stuff you'd ever split. And I have no idea. And like, and then you can almost find those two pieces, a really hard one and a really nice one, in the same log.
Yeah,
I don't know why it's like that, but that's the way beech is. Like you could do half the log where it goes really smooth, just beautiful splitting stuff, and then the other 4 or 5 pieces off the log are just terrible. I have no idea why beech is that.
That's kind of crazy, eh? Yeah, it is. And my neighbor next to me, between me and Guy, he dropped 2 different beech because they were diseased. So up here in Ontario, for those of you in the U.S., we have a federal, I think it's federal. I don't think it's provincial. I think it's federal. It's a government program that says you put together some kind of a program for managing your forest and you get a rebate on your taxes. Yeah. So this, my neighbor down the road said he had these trees marked by the arborist or the forester, right? The certified guy that comes out every year and says, you're going to need to remove these trees to make your forest better. Anyways, they were beech trees. I had no idea how heavy and dense that wood was. I picked up with the LX 2610 Kubota, and honest to God, when it lifted, and because you get used to your tractor, right? You know when it's lifting easy and when it's lifting hard. I was like, I could not believe it, because this guy has no tractor, and he said, I've got these sections of beech. He said, can you bring them down to my cottage or to my cabin and drop them off for me? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, because that's what we do up here. We're Canadians. I grappled that stuff, and I was shocked because I tried to grapple 3 or 4 at once. And the tractor nosed down, and there was a slow lift. I was like, you've got to be kidding me, because they were small 6-foot pieces, right? I had no idea how dense it was. And then I went online and I looked it up and found out it has one of the highest seasoned BTU contents of any wood we have here in Ontario.
Yeah.
Truth.
So that program you're talking about, Brad Lloyd said it's MIF-TIP. It was basically the program.
Okay. Yeah.
He's going to have to explain what that stands for. I can't remember, but it's, you're basically a managed forest. You pay to have all that. You get the deal on your taxes. Yeah. You have to have basically a plan on what you're doing with it, whether you're going to do harvests or what kind of, you have to be taking care of it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But you're right. It's go ahead, Andrew.
Funny thing about beech trees too is the beech nuts. Did you see any marks? Well, you probably wouldn't see any marks up the trees, depending on what time of year you. If you would have taken them out a couple weeks, you might not have seen any marks up the trees. But I worked in a bush up in Griffith one time, and we cut a lot of beech, and there were claw marks the whole length of the trees. Every single tree had a black bear up it at some point.
Going out of
these.
Yeah.
Okay. And hey,
it was pretty cool to see it. It's the only spot I've been where we've got that much beech, and you've seen, and like almost every single tree had claw marks up it.
Isn't that crazy? So, hey, before I forget, Andrew, I had to ask you this last winter, how many times did you get out snowmobiling?
I didn't even hop on the snowmobile. It wasn't in my yard. I was in my office.
Yeah, geez. We had such bad snow here because of the swings in temperature. I got out one day.
Oh, wow.
Once.
Yeah, I think Dad made it up quite a bit, but I think he went up to Deep River a lot. I think he went north.
He went north. Right on. Wow.
What's Sean saying? We have managed forests as well. We have 8 sections across 85 acres. It's a decent commitment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big commitment.
I think Sean actually brought up at the beginning, near the beginning of this. I did remember seeing it. He mentioned about having modern self-reliance on, Andrew.
Oh, yeah. Kev would like to come on. He's a nice fella. Yeah.
So that's on you.
I'm sure
you know him.
Throwing it at you.
There you go. He's a super nice guy.
And I think Sean was asking, I think it was him asking, but I saw somebody else say, Glenn just said it right here, about your store for merch.
Oh, yeah. I definitely have to get on that. If you buy an Easton made hat, I'll send you a wood splitter. They're fairly expensive hats.
That's marketing. What is it? Jerry with a G told you to say that?
Yeah.
Wood splitter's free.
Oh my gosh. Have you guys, anybody on the live chat, if you've ever talked to Jerry with G, that guy is the penultimate salesman. He is so smooth. He sneaks in on you. You don't know, you don't see it coming, you don't feel it coming, but all of a sudden, it's there. Giddy up. That's still Jerry with a J. He's awesome.
I'm still waiting to have him on here, but
yeah, he's pretty funny.
He's worried about putting his foot in his mouth, I guess.
I asked him a couple of months ago. He said, "I'm good enough at shoving my foot in my mouth, and you can get it when you're gonna edit it out. I don't want to do it when it's live."
That's pretty good. Sean said he sold his sled, bought a Kubota Mini X instead. Well, if you sold it just recently, you probably could afford the Mini X by the sale of the snowmobile because there's none available.
Yeah, I'm torn because the last few, like we used to have, honest to goodness, and I'm not exaggerating, you would walk out my front door here into the front area, and I would be up to almost just below my crotch in snow. And that was not many years ago, and that was historical. The last several years, because of the swings in temperature throughout the winter, the trails have been closed. Like you look at our trails, like you guys probably don't look at it because you're farther north of me and west, but the trails have been closed almost the entire winter except for very few days.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And we could skidoo, like literally middle to late November. I was snowmobiling the trails. That's how much snow we got here, but not the last few years. So the skidoo's sitting there, and it kind of breaks your heart because I've, similar to what Sean's saying, I had 2 snowmobiles because I had a second one for my daughters because I was trying to, drive with them. I ended up selling them 2 years ago and bought one, got rid of it. And that thing, I think, went out maybe twice last year and once this winter. It's been sitting there on that skid that you see at the front of the cottage when I film my videos. And it's heartbreaking because I'm this close to selling it and saying enough's enough because I got to insure it every year. I got to put the plates on it. I got to get my trail permits for, the cost of that. But I don't know what's going on with the weather.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
We'd get like a week of decent weather and some snow and some freezing and then rain.
Yes. But I don't know what you're getting up north, Andrew. That's what I was saying is like you're far more north of me. Yeah. I don't know what your snow's been like.
We wouldn't have near the snow like where we are particularly as what you guys would. Like once you go, it doesn't take very much. And once you go maybe 45 minutes an hour north of us, you get up towards Calabogie, Ramford County and stuff like that. Then you start to get into more snow and into like for us to make Deep River, I think you're about 2.5 hours to make Deep River. So a lot of guys here will just trailer the sleds up there.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
More often than not.
Yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking because it was like I remember the days for years. Like my buddies would come out. We always had 2 or 3, snowmobile weekends up here, and literally they'd throw their snowmobiles in the back of the pickup, and the snow was so deep here, they would, drive in, drop the tailgate, and the banks were so high that they could just run their sleds off of the back into the snowbank, into the front lawn. And I haven't seen that in 3-4 years now.
Wow. It's crazy. Mike, you just said they had more snow than normal for them. I don't know what kind of snow he's around. I think he's around not very far from Pittsburgh.
I think Pittsburgh up around Cranberry Township, if I'm right, around that area.
Yeah.
I've been down
so I'm not sure they're normal.
Nice area. There's lots of hills.
Yeah.
Lots of hills.
There you go.
Saw him with Sandy. Those sleds are like gold in Ontario. Anything is anything. I was just listening to another podcast. The guy takes care of, it's called Machinery Pete, and he takes care of auctions. Basically puts all the auction prices down. There's an 1845C case skid steer, which is I don't think it's even in the 2000s when they made them. It's probably in the 90s. Had 600 hours on it. Went for $43,000.
Wow.
US.
That's
like that
crazy.
is nuts for that age of machine. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So what I was thinking, since Mike is on, I would offer, I don't know if he's been thinking about it, but Mike and Melissa could do an awesome podcast. They could.
I mean, for sure.
I would listen in a heartbeat, but I don't know if they're thinking about it or not. But I think they would do a great podcast because they've got such a large breadth of content, and that's the beauty of it, right? Like when you look at me, I have a pretty narrow thing. You basically see what I do every day. But Mike and Melissa, there's such a larger expanse of what they do on their properties every day. Anyways, I'm sure he's looking at it for sure, but I think they would do a wicked podcast for sure. And they've got everything. It's like I said on that video I put out a few weeks ago. You got all the audio and video stuff you need. It's $15 a month to get hosted.
I was wondering about that. That's what it costs, eh? $15.
That's it. $15.99 US. That's the cheapest plan. There are several free plans, but they're restricted. Hey, whoa, hang on, Andrew needs a little refill. But yeah,
I don't think I'm gonna drink that, guys. I really don't think so.
Come on, it's watermelon.
It's got Dan's name on it.
I might go to the fridge and grab myself another beer, but I don't think I'm having a white claw. I just can't see me doing it.
Stacy's gonna have to get that fireplace going in the bedroom.
Oh, hey, I think we have it. I think Mike or Melissa just mentioned that they said they've thought about it, maybe in the winter months. And I think Mike, I'm not sure if it's you or Melissa tonight answering, but I think you guys would have an awesome podcast, and especially if you're both co-hosting, because then you can debate and argue and disagree with each other and come together at the end of the podcast and say, I'll see you next time, after you both make up after having crazy diverse opinions on something. And you got a ton of content. Okay, hire me. I'll be your manager for your podcast. Email me now. Just kidding. You don't need me. You guys will do great on your own. You have already. And Mike Morgan is, honest to God, like, the fact that they're on tonight, this is the thing that I love about them a lot is they're very grounded. And I remember when I watched so many of his videos, and I eventually subscribed in the 460 time frame, and they're just as genuine and grounded as they were, 250,000 subscribers ago. They are. And he just tells it like it is. He does what he does every day. Same as me. I don't have as much to do on my little property, but he just does his stuff every day and says hello.
Yeah,
and they're super nice people, and I don't mean to take liberties, but I've talked to Mike a few times over the years, and he is literally just as grounded in person as he is on his YouTube channel. And bottom line, Mike, do the podcast. I'm telling you, you guys got to do a podcast because you'll do great.
Yeah,
there you go.
I met Mike and Melissa. We caught them just as they were on their way out at Bunyan 3 years ago, I guess it was. 2 years. Yeah, 3 years ago. Whenever the last time I went was.
Yeah. And
just caught them on their way out, and super, super nice. And I know they were on a rush to get out because they were at, I think, Wolfridge's booth there.
Right on.
Doing those, so they were there all day. They were just trying to get out to get a bite, and they still, took the time to talk. We're in a bit of a group, but they took time to talk to us. And Mike is, both of them, Mike and Melissa, are both great. So hopefully we get to see him again.
It's a long day at a show. I mean, if you work the whole day, it's wow. I really enjoy it because I really like talking to people, but it makes for a long day.
Yeah. And so, Andrew, on that note, is now that COVID restrictions are slowly relieving, is there any? Are you at a point where you're starting to book shows going forward anywhere in North America?
Yeah, we're planning on doing Boonville, which is just south of Watertown. So we're planning on going to that. That's a really, really good show. And then we're planning on doing the Paul Bunyan show. And it's down at Cambridge, Ohio. I don't think you'll see us travel near as much to the shows. Like, it's a tricky thing with marketing. Like honestly, with the power of what we have with YouTube and TikTok and different platforms, it's really hard to invest a lot of money into a show because they're incredibly expensive to do. Like you're talking big bucks to move that much equipment to a show and then sell it. And like a lot of times, like we would discount machines at shows, and it's a huge expense to do it. Where in terms of dollars and cents in marketing and reach, seems to be the platform or social media seems to be the way to do it rather than shows. That being said, like the Paul Bunyan show is a really, really good show for us to go to, and then the Boonville is always a really good show. Those are the two best shows of the year for us, regardless of the year.
Okay, great. Yeah.
I don't know. Are you going down to Bunyan, Gord?
I've never been invited, and I obviously the last couple of years I've been staying at home and just looking after the family. So I would love to, because I hear it's a big gig and a lot of fun, and a lot of folks get together. So I don't know about this year, but we'll see how it goes, because I would love to. I'd love to meet people. Especially you see all these YouTube channels saying I'm going to Bunyan. Bunyan's a big gig, and I think it's in October, roughly, isn't it?
The first weekend is going to be there.
It's normally Thanksgiving weekend for us is when it is.
Thanksgiving? That's my turkey day. And I tell you, I cook a mean turkey. I'm telling you, that turkey is so tender and juicy. If you're in America or in the U.S. right now and you're listening to this, I'm telling you, my turkey, when I'm done with it, my family falls off their chairs. It is so tender and juicy. I don't fool around, man. Up here in Canada, when it comes to Thanksgiving, that turkey is smoke hot, and it is so tender and juicy, it just melts in your mouth. Okay, back to Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
If it's Thanksgiving weekend, I won't be there because I get my daughters and stuff, right?
Yeah, it is Thanksgiving weekend this year. I know that for sure.
I think there was only one year that we went that it wasn't Thanksgiving weekend. It was 2019.
Okay. The last year we were able to go, I think was the last one. Yeah. The Morgans, they'll be there as well. At this
that's great. Yeah, it's tough because you get to know other creators on other channels, and I know Bunyan's a big one, and it would be great to meet up with all these great folks that have their channels, and even if you get to have dinner or have a few coffees late at night together and share stories and stuff, it would be such a wonderful experience for me up here in Canada. Because at the end of the day, you got Buck and Billy Ray Smith, right? And Buck and Billy Ray is, hands down, he is the penultimate when it comes to dropping trees and doing firewood and stuff. And you've got very other few channels in Canada, but you get to know a lot of these folks in the U.S. who have these channels, and they're really kind people. I mean, most of my career was spent traveling to the U.S., most of it. And the folks in the U.S., I got to tell you, they talk about us as Canadians being, really kind and respectful and prim and proper and stuff. The folks in the U.S., they're much more bold in their opinions, but they're so hospitable.
Yep.
Like you go down to Texas or
California. We really enjoy going down and talking to everybody. It's so especially and it's nice to go and talk to all the different people that comment on the Facebook posts, that comment on YouTube and stuff like that, and you get to put a picture to or a name to the face, and it's so. It's so great to talk to everybody and get everybody to put on. It really is.
It is, and what's really warming is because they have such warmth, right? Yeah. So you go down to Texas or California or Atlanta or wherever you're traveling, and they know you're there for a few days because you tell them you're here from this day to this day, and you've got meetings and those kind of things, and they're like, well, Thursday night you're coming home to my place. We're going to have dinner at my place, because they know you're away from your and they want to make sure you have a home cooked meal.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy. And you feel it. And the other thing too about the US, if I could be so forward to say it, is over the 20 some odd years I traveled down to the US. For some reason, no matter where you go in the US, they think as Canadians we have an accent.
I don't have an accent at all.
I know, exactly. I'm like, you're in Atlanta and you're in a boardroom, and they're like, you know what? You've really got a really cool accent. And you look at them and you're like, I got an accent? I have an accent. You got the accent.
Yeah.
But they think Canadians have an accent, and it's the most heartwarming thing. And you always laugh about it, no matter where you are, Chicago or California, wherever you travel. They always like, you have such a really great accent in Canada. And I'm like, I don't have an accent. You got the accent. But they think we have the accent. Oh my goodness.
Andrew has the accent.
Yeah, Andrew's the guy with the accent. He is. Oh my goodness.
Guy in the middle.
Yeah.
That's Lanark County right here. That's what it sounds like. Not sure where it comes from.
Do.
Yeah.
But it's but like
Kev,
yeah.
Kev, I'm not sure, but is it 10:15 or is my watch wrong?
Your smartwatch is wrong.
Oh, there we go. It's only 8:15.
No, it is 10:15. I know we're keeping you up way past your bedtime.
No, I'm okay if you guys are okay. I'm
good. If you gotta leave, you gotta leave. I get it.
No, I don't. I'm good all night until I pass out in front of you. I'm all good. I had a nap.
All I want to say, like you were calling, going down and seeing other creators, and you're right. These are all other creators, but they're friends, right? I don't even look at them as another creator. I look at them as friends. Yeah, like I've met so many great people down there. It's crazy. And going to their, going summer vacations to their place. I go and see my buddy Stump and Nutsy and that. We'll go and hang out and trying to make plans this year. Going fishing and
Stump and Nutsy.
Stump and
Can
Nutsy.
we break into that a little bit?
Well, Stump Jumper and Nuts 319.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah. So they're other YouTubers, but they're like friends. I talk to them,
for sure.
Sometimes daily, but yeah, they're great people. He went and actually Nutsy went and cut a tree down for Mike outdoor with the Morgans. He did
right on.
I think it was an oak tree there, but they're all friends. You got yeah.
Dan's always gonna get it in there on me, eh?
I do
go to bed early. It's because I speak funny. But don't worry, he's coming up here. One way or another, we're gonna drag Dan up here with his wife, with Amanda.
The Driftless Homestead. First time I called Eastimate, I almost needed an interpreter.
There you have it.
I thought Andrew was Newf when I first watched him.
I actually get that a lot. I get a a lot of people think I'm a Newf.
I gotta be honest. If I could offer, I thought you were too.
I don't know if Ricky Heron is on tonight or not, but Ricky, I'll never forget. He bought his first wood splitter probably 4 years ago now, and he called, and at that time, like the Eastimate phone was literally my cell phone. Like, if you called Eastimate, like it was my cell phone. And I picked up the phone, good afternoon, Eastimate, and he says, "Oh my God, you're the guy from the videos." Like what do you think was going to answer the phone? My cell phone, of course it's me.
There you go.
He was so shocked that there was me on the other end of the phone.
Oh, that's funny, man. That is too funny.
It was great, man. I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Sean's saying Gord's accent is mild. You can tell he traveled a lot.
I hide it a lot. No, it's funny, and I tell you, I could keep you all night telling you stories about traveling and how small the world is. That 6 degrees or 7 degrees thing is 100% true. 100% true. It's uncanny. 1:30 in the morning at an airport in Dallas, and you end up running into somebody you went to grade 9 with. It's just I could tell you stories all night. It's ridiculously remarkable how that degrees of separation actually works. You got 335 or 337 million people in the US and 13.5 million people in Canada, and you're traveling between countries, and somehow at that exact moment, in that exact airport, on that exact terminal, you're walking through and you run into somebody you went to grade 9 with.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not crazy, out of control stuff. Anyways, I won't tell you because we'll be here for another 2 hours.
It's funny you say that because we were on a Caribbean vacation. I think we were in Dominican. I think it was Punta Cana.
Yeah.
Sitting at the bar, we were talking. There was a couple. They were a little bit older than us, talking to them. They're like, "Oh, where are you from?" And they're like, "Oh, we're the other side of Toronto." I'm like, "Oh, whereabouts?" Because we are too.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we're in Acton." I'm like, "So are we?" Like,
oh wow.
I'm like, "That's a small world." We're street. Well, I'm like, "Where in Acton are you?" And street name. I'm like, "Yeah, we're just right across town, and we're in a small town." I'm like, that is crazy. I drive by their place every day when I go and pick up the kid at daycare. It's crazy. Like, it's that small of a world, right? You have thousands of people at this resort, and there's someone from your town there, right?
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It is, for sure.
Ricky's on.
Yeah.
Hey,
nice guy. That rat Ricky here is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Jeez, he's a great guy.
Oh, geez, that's really nice.
He's from Atlanta, Georgia. He's got to be the nicest man. Gee, I could sit there and I could talk on the phone to Ricky for hours. I just love talking.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. And obviously from the A, is he Canadian?
Night,
no, he's from Atlanta. No. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. He was a firefighter down there for years.
There you go. I've been there several times. And hey, good night, Mike. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's just once again shows how kind and grounded you are, because I know you've got a ton of stuff to do and you're on your way to editing for the night. And I hope you get to bed at some reasonable hour tonight.
Yeah.
All the best to you, Melissa, and your kids and the family.
Out, Mike.
Yeah, I appreciate seeing you here, Mike. It's awesome. Don't forget to check your emails.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? With Ricky, is Ricky Canadian?
No,
he's in Atlanta, Georgia. You said.
Yeah.
No, crazy stuff. Yeah, and he makes it personal. He puts the A in there.
He's got to be one of the. He's awesome. I just absolutely enjoy. Every time he calls me, it just brightens my day. Just so excited to see Ricky's name pop up on the phone. You have no idea.
That's really cool. And hey, good night to Neil. Thank you so much, Neil, for tuning in. I know I'm kind of behind on your videos, but I greatly appreciate you tuning in tonight. That's really awesome of you.
Thanks for coming out, Neil. We're gonna have to watch a little more of Neil here.
Yeah, I'll have to check out Neil's. I don't think I follow him, but I will check him out.
Well, you should. Great channel.
And good night. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it, Neil.
Yeah, I'm going to sneak away for a minute, and I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, but it's probably the same thing I was doing the last time. I'll be back.
Well, we can ask this. It only took 2 hours and 16 minutes to get to this one.
Production. Oh, no. I seen it come up earlier. We just missed it. Not from James, but from somebody else. They were asking about it. Well, James, I think your machine's coming up. It's got to be up the next couple of weeks here. I think honestly, we've got the 37Ds. We've got a bunch of them going there right now, and we need to make up the first hose kit for them. And then I think a whole bunch of them came in maybe Thursday or Friday. So it's on its way. And I'll tell you, it's awesome. Like I haven't seen one run in a wee while, and we got that one run out back. Those 37Ds are monsters. They're hilarious to watch it run.
Yeah, the video. I remember watching that first one that you put. Oh man, that thing is fast.
Oh, they're just insane. The endless power that they like. We had a 12-way and the one out back, and Kenny had brought by, I don't know, a great big burly stuff to run through it, and it just pounded through it. It just didn't. It would just take a little bit of a grunt, and then the engine would grunt down a wee bit, and would just spit wood out the back. It was just hilarious to watch it run.
Yeah, they're crazy. Did you get to run the that 48 that you had that you were testing on?
Yeah, it works awesome. That works really good. I can't believe the difference in that.
Oh,
I put up a couple of videos the end of the week here, and what a difference! Like to just having that little bit of a difference in it, and it, wow.
Yeah,
I don't know why we wouldn't have thought of that before. I think because with the last time we updated the programming was on the very first one, and that's kind of where we left it, because it had the bigger cylinder on it. Where with yours and all the new ones, they have the smaller cylinder, a little higher pressure, and no, it works awesome. How's yours been running for you?
Good, really good. I'm really, really happy with it. It's been flawless. We've been we've been doing maple tops and bullwood mix. It's been fine. Running 12-inch, it seems way faster than the 4000. Running that with that new that new update to the program.
Yeah,
it's blows me away how quick that thing is now.
I don't think we could have it like. Is your setup where you can drop the saw coming out still, or is it?
No, Brandon changed that.
I don't think you could do. I don't think you could do that. I think you'd almost clip it. You'd have to run the machine pretty hard to be able to do it, though.
Yeah, got to be quick. I think it's a little bit more tweaking. I'll probably have to call Jeremy. Just some small things with the saw set. Saw height. I think it just needs a little bit of tweaking on that, but it's super happy.
We made up a new mount for them too. So if you get talking to Jeremy, get him to get you down that new mount for it. It's
okay.
It's quite a bit easier to set it and adjust it and all that kind of stuff too. John did a really nice job on it. So
yeah, okay. I'll mention to Jeremy, but yeah, it's super. They are quick now. Like
they're insane. I didn't think that they like. I thought like designing them like that. I thought you know what, it's going to be about as fast as the 4000 is where it's going to be, but it's going to be more user friendly. I didn't think there'd be that much of a gap in it.
It was the guys who have run I know there's a couple on here. They've run 4000s in the past. And if you run the new ones, you'd sit there and you'd be joystick over waiting for it to come back to cycle to start doing the next cut. You can see it you watch it in the videos, right? Now it's just like, boom, as fast as you can go, right? It's perfect. I think perfect.
I think that's the way to have to do.
Yeah.
There you go.
What's Gus saying here? Did I miss his first one? I feel there's no difference between Canada and the U.S.
Well, that's because Gus is such a kind fella.
And he says, say car or roof.
He's so nice, man. Him and Sally.
Or go Pete.
What a team. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Glenn, actually, I think Glenn asked the first one. Andrew, are the 37Ds ahead of schedule or getting Mingham fall to early 23?
Glenn's got one teed up for fall. That's probably when he'll get it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, what were you saying there, Gord?
No, I was just saying we're going on 2.5 hours on this live stream.
I think it's.
I'm good. I can go all night because I had my nap, right? And I'm not wearing my jammies. I'm wearing my Easton Made jammies.
Right, I thought that's where you've been going when you've been leaving, just having a little power nap.
No, I'm getting older. Yeah, I need to break free. I don't know how you guys are holding it, but good on you.
Well, that's why we got to end it at this mark.
There you go.
But yeah, you guys got anything else to add?
I don't think so.
I think that
was good. That beer is almost empty, so we're right on time as far as I'm concerned.
There you go. Well, I do want to offer a few sentiments because you know me, I'm all about talking. I did want to extend my sincere gratitude to Andrew for me and Husky Bob, or Easton Made Bob, and Neighbor Guy for all the kindness that you've extended to us over the last couple of years with the equipment that you've provided to us that has made, Guy and Bob's and Bill's and Ralph's and Chuck's and John's life and Bill so much easier having such top quality, efficient equipment to make sure that they all have heat in the winter times over the last few years. And I can't extend my thanks more, but you probably realize to some degree that there's a benefit there. And I can tell you over the last 10 years, running into winters where, Walter or Wilfred or Bill or somebody's run out of wood early in February or March, and we've had to scramble to try to find wood because, we've been dealing with residential type equipment and we didn't have the time to build it. heat, especially in the rurals, as you know, I mean, Kev knows, is a pretty damn important thing to consider. And when somebody runs out and sends out the all call in February that they're running out of wood, their shed, having equipment that you provided to us over the last couple of years is, you've noticed probably, I haven't told you, nobody's run out of wood. Everybody's warm. And I just wanted to extend from the bottom of my heart.
You guys are always
well, the only reason you do it is because
you have good people to work. It's a piece of
well,
cake.
the only reason you do it is because guy's wife makes you sandwiches every time you come.
And they're good sandwiches.
They are. But from the bottom of my heart, not to get all dramatic and moopy on you guys, Andrew, from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of my older friends and neighbors here on the concession road, you've made a world of difference, and I'm eternally grateful for that. So I'll leave on that note for sure. And I tip my hat to you, my friend. And I, honest to God, after what I've seen over the last 10 years, you've been a big part. Your equipment has been a big part in ensuring that I'm able to make sure they all have heat in the winter. So 2 thumbs up, my friend. From a Canadian point of view, there's always a spot on my dock for you, And thank you so much, man.
No worries at all. Both you guys have gone so far above and beyond for me. It's amazing. That's what makes the world go round, guys.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, we appreciate it too. You've been great with us, so it's been awesome.
Well, I shaved for you guys. I even had a shower. I told you guys I showered and I shaved before we got on this live stream.
Don't forget about the deodorant.
The deodorant too, yes.
Oh yeah, I threw a little of that on.
It smells
because
fantastic.
I had to wake up from my nap.
It's great. It's wonderful, Gord.
It's Irish Spring. Come on. Anyways,
and when you're not there, it keeps the mice away. It's great.
If it does both, it's great because I don't like them nipping at my feet when I'm sleeping.
All right, guys. Oh, and if you're wondering about what Andrew and I were talking about with the 40 AC being quick, check out my channel. I got the video kind of comparison between it and the 4000. You can see that, and there'll be more on that, on what that update was and what they did on that. So stay tuned for that. And there'll be a new video tomorrow morning as soon as I just get the rest of it uploaded, which only takes a few minutes. So that'll be coming up.
Get that Bell vibe.
That's right. Oh man, it's quick. Let me tell you. Faster than I can type, I'll tell you that. Then I can get all the info in. It's crazy. Love it.
Nice.
You got anything to add, Andrew?
I don't think so, guys. I really appreciate everybody coming out and joining us and showing your support. It means the world to us. It's great to hear from everybody, and it really is. Like you guys make the community. You guys that come out and support us and have a conversation with us. It really means the world to us, guys. So.
Yeah, it sure does. And thank you so much, Kev, for inviting me on. And Andrew, this is a Canadian panel. It was a Canadian podcast, but right. I am super pumped. I'm so happy you asked me on. And at the end of the day, Sandy, Gus, Brad, Sean, so many people, James, TDH, all you guys, I could go on. I'm so happy that people were able to tune in on a Saturday night. And hey, at the end of the day, Kev, you're rocking it, man. You've got it going on. That whole live stream thing. I don't know how to do it, but Andrew, you've never looked better, my friend.
It's been great.
Oh, Canadian.
You guys are, I couldn't do it without everybody showing up. So there'd be no point doing a live stream if I didn't have, all these comments coming up. So
there you go.
It's all these people coming out and watching us and watching the videos throughout the week when we're posting, whether it's mine, Andrew's, or your channels, right? It's what keeps it just makes it worth it. It makes this community great. And what it really is a community. So it's awesome.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah. Again, thanks everyone.
I got to finish my coffee now.
Me too.
Well, cheers.
Well, cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers.
Skidder Kev, thanks so much for the invite.
Yeah.
I hope I get a chance over the next coming months to get on again with you guys.
Yeah,
really cool.
For sure, Gord. For sure.
All right, man.
All right. Anyway, guys, thanks
Cheers.
a lot.
Have a good night, guys.
We'll see you on the next one.